Okay, so let's talk about something I think, well, almost everyone bumps into at work. You're in one program, right? Maybe your CRM.
Right.
And you know there's a crucial document, maybe a contract or an invoice stored somewhere else, probably in your document system.
Uh-huh. Happens all the time.
But getting from point A to point B, finding that specific document linked to the client you're looking at,
Mm.
it's manual, it's slow. It's like these systems just refuse to talk to each other.
Exactly. We call them information silos, and they're a huge drag on productivity. You spend more time searching for information than actually using it.
Precisely. But what if there was a way to connect them easily without needing a team of developers?
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're looking at Laserfiche's connector product. And the really big promise here is zero programming.
Zero programming. That sounds almost too good to be true for integrations.
It does, but that's the goal. It's essentially a shortcut. A shortcut to being well-informed by linking these separate systems without needing to write, complex code.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So it bridges the gap, makes data accessible right where you need it.
That's the core idea. It's about efficiency, yes, but also just better decision-making because you actually have the information in context.
So our mission for this deep dive is clear. Let's unpack how Laserfiche Connector actually does this. We'll use a really practical example. Okay.
Sounds good.
Let's say you're in Dynamic CRM. You've got a client name on screen, and you want to instantly see all their documents from your Laserfiche cloud repository.
Perfect example. Connector is designed precisely for that kind of task, linking those line of business apps, like your CRM, directly with Laserfiche.
And it does this using, what, some kind of tool?
Yeah, it uses an easy-to-use configuration wizard. It basically walks you through setting up the integration step by step.
A wizard. Okay, so not lines of code, but clicks and configurations.
Exactly. And once you've set up a profile using the wizard, you can trigger it super easily. Think user-defined hotkeys, like maybe Chio plus Shift plus L, or even little buttons embedded right onto the screen of the application you're using.
Embedded buttons. So a button could just appear in my CRM window.
Precisely. Click it, and it runs the search in Laserfiche based on, say, the account name currently displayed.
Gotcha. And just for context, the version we're basing this on is Laserfiche Connector 11, right?
That's correct, according to the source material. And one key thing to understand about the setup, you need something called the LF Connector Profile Builder.
Okay, the profile builder.
But here's the important part. That builder is only needed on the machine where you create these connection profiles.
So not for every single user.
Right. Your end users, the people just running the searches day to day using the hotkey or the button, they don't need the builder installed.
Yeah.
That makes rolling it out much, much simpler.
Okay, that clarifies the deployment. So we understand the what and the why. Let's get into the how. You mentioned the wizard.
Well,
Let's walk through creating one of these profiles. How many steps are we talking about?
we can break it down into about 6 main steps. It sounds like a lot, but the wizard makes it flow pretty logically.
All right, step 1.
Step 1, create the connector profile. This is where you start. You find the connector icon in your taskbar. It looks like a little electrical plug.
The plug icon.
Right-click on that, choose Add Profile, and that launches the wizard.
Simple enough to kick things off.
Yep. And that wizard, the Profile Creation Wizard, is your main tool. It guides you through everything. Naming the profile, telling it how to grab the info, connecting to Laserfiche, defining the search, the whole 9 yards.
You mentioned it organizes this across pages.
Yeah, there are roughly 5 main screens or pages within the wizard. Setting the name in action, telling it where to get the information from, configuring the specifics for that action, deciding how users run it, hotkey or button, and then testing it all out.
Makes sense. Okay, so after launching the wizard, we're on to step 2. Enter the profile name. Seems basic, but I guess naming matters.
It really does. You want something clear. If the profile looks up client documents, call it something like look up client docs in LF.
Right, not just profile 1 or...
Or fiche tips.
Yeah.
That'd be silly. Clarity for the user is key.
Good point. Okay, step 3. Select the action. What does that involve?
This is pretty straightforward. You just choose from a list what you want this profile to do. Search for documents, create a new folder, start a workflow. You pick the main function here.
Got it. Then step 4, configure get information from. This sounds important. Where does it get the info, like the client name in our example?
Right. You have 2 main choices here. Either get it directly from an application like your CRM window, or get it from command line parameters.
Command line. When would you use that?
That's more for, say, automated scripts or maybe integrating with something that doesn't have a standard window interface. It lets you pass the search value directly into connector without it meaning to scrape a screen. For most user-driven tasks, though, you'll choose application.
Okay, so if we choose application, how do we tell it which application in which field?
You click the Add Source Application button, and you get this cool tool. The source calls it a target bug, but think of it like a crosshair or a target symbol.
Okay, the target symbol?
You click and drag that symbol onto the window of the application you want to pull data from, like your CRM screen, and release it. Connector then identifies the application.
Ah, so it's visual targeting. No typing in program names.
Usually not. It often auto-detects the process name and window class, which is pretty neat.
Nice. Okay, that leads into step 5. Source application options. What happens here?
Here, Connector needs to know how to read the data from that application window you just targeted. You've got a few methods: JavaScript-defined controls, UI automation, or even OCR.
OCR, like reading text from an image?
Yeah, that's kind of a fallback if the other methods can't identify the fields. But usually you'll start with JavaScript. The source says it works for most apps and websites. If that struggles, UI automation is the next best bet.
So you pick a method, then what? You mentioned dragging the target icon earlier.
Right, after you've identified the main application window, you'll use that target icon again later, specifically to pinpoint the fields within the application. But first, identifying the window is key. Drag the icon over it, let the details populate.
Got it. Is there anything tricky here?
There's one really important note the source material highlights. Once you've targeted that source application, like your CRM, don't change anything in that application window. Don't navigate away, don't close pop-ups, nothing, at least until you finish the next part, which is defining tokens.
Okay, freeze the source application while you configure. That makes sense. What about browsers? Anything special there?
Yes, good point. Specifically for Chrome-based browsers, that includes Edge now too, you might encounter a warning message during setup.
A warning. What does it mean?
It basically means Connector needs a specific setting enabled in the browser to properly see and interact with the elements on the web page.
So what do you do if you see that warning?
There's a specific bit of text. Let me find it. Here. You need to add remote debugging port 9222 remote allow origins local host to the browser's shortcut properties.
Okay, that sounds a bit technical but specific.
It is specific, but it's a one-time setup for that browser. You add that text, close the browser completely, restart Laserfiche Connector itself, and then try building the profile again. Usually clears it right up.
Good to know that workaround exists. All right, that takes us to the big one. Step 6, define tokens and more. Let's start with define tokens. You mentioned this earlier. This is where we grab the actual data.
Exactly. This is the heart of the visual configuration. A token is basically a placeholder for the piece of data you want to extract from your source application. So in our example, we want the account name from the CRM.
So we create a token called, say, account name.
Precisely. You type account name as the token name in the wizard. Then next to that name, there's another one of those target icons.
Ah, using a target icon again?
Yep. You click and drag this target icon directly onto the field in your CRM that actually contains the account name. You might need to slide the wizard window out of the way to see it clearly.
And how do you know you've got the right field?
As you hover the target over different fields, you'll see them get highlighted, usually with a red outline. When the account name field is outlined in red, you release the mouse button.
And it just grabs the value.
It does. The wizard will then show you the current value it sees in that field so you can double check. Yep, that's the client name I was looking at.
Okay, that does sound much easier than coding API calls. Can you grab more than one piece of data?
Absolutely. If you needed, say, the account name and a case number, you just click Add Token and repeat the process. Name the new token case number, drag the target icon to the case number field, release, and verify.
Very cool. Okay, so we've defined our tokens. What's next within step 6?
Next up is Laserfiche repository. This part's super simple. You just tell Connector if you're connecting to a Laserfiche system installed on your own servers that's local, or if you're using Laserfiche Cloud.
And that's it. No server names or anything here.
Nope, the source says there's basically nothing to configure on this screen except for the type of repository. Connector handles the rest, and it knows that the Laserfiche client application needs to launch when the profile runs.
Nice and easy. What follows the repository type?
Search criteria. It's where you put those tokens you just defined to work. You tell Connector how to use the value it grabbed, like the account name token, to search within Laserfiche.
How do you configure that?
You'll typically use drop-downs. You select your token, like account name, and then specify things like where in Laserfiche to search maybe within document text, field values, entry names using the search within options. You also narrow it down by entry type, like documents only or folders only.
Can you do complex searches?
You can. The default is usually quick search, which is like typing into the main search bar in Laserfiche. But you also have the option to use the full Laserfiche advanced search syntax if you need something really specific, like searching for documents with a certain template and a matching field value.
Okay, so flexibility is there if needed. What's after setting the search?
Just a couple more things. Under running the profile, you get some cosmetic options. You can change the size of that little embedded button icon that appears in your source application.
Ah, the button we talked about earlier.
Exactly. You can make it bigger or smaller. And importantly, you can choose whether to allow the user to drag that button around on their screen to place it where it makes sense for them.
That's a nice touch for usability. And the final part of step 6.
The test page. Before you save everything, there's a big test button. You click that.
And what should happen?
It should immediately run the profile just like a user would. So in our example, it would grab the account name from your CRM, connect the Laserfiche cloud, run the search you defined, and then...
The Laserfiche client should pop up.
Exactly. The Laserfiche client should launch and show you a link of search results, hopefully all the documents related to that client account. It's your chance to confirm everything works end-to-end before you save the profile.
Perfect. A built-in test run. So that's the 6 steps. It sounds detailed, but actually quite manageable, especially with the visual tools.
That's the whole point. It breaks down what used to be a complex integration task into manageable visual steps. No coding required.
So just to recap then, Laserfiche Connector really lets you bridge those application silos, pull information across systems, and do it through a guided visual setup. It puts the power of integration into more hands.
Precisely. It's about making connections seamless, making information flow where it's needed, and ultimately making work easier and more informed for everyone. This kind of tool helps you get straight to those aha moments without getting bogged down.
It really sounds like a powerful shortcut for dealing with scattered information. Okay, final thought for you, our listener, to chew on.
Yeah.
Considering how we've seen you can connect applications visually without code, take a moment and think. What silos exist in your own work? Where are those information disconnects? Could a tool like this kind of elegant, accessible solution, help bridge those gaps for you?